Welcome to the Reconnection Club podcast, the show that helps parents heal troubled relationships with their adult sons and daughters. I'm your host, psychotherapist Tina Gilbertson. Each week I'll offer you compassion, clarity, and personal development tips designed to help you reconnect not only with your child, but with yourself. Now let's get started. Just recently, I've had a number of rejected parents say things like, "My child has made a lot of bad choices, so she's miserable in her life, and I'm the scapegoat." In other words, the adult child is choosing to blame her parent or parents for all her problems, treating them like garbage because she feels bad about herself. While it's very easy to see how parents can get this impression from an angry adult child, it's just a little too simplistic in my view. Blaming someone else for our own problems is common, but we usually blame people who are in some way involved. For example, if you're unhappy in your relationship, you might blame your partner. Or if you're unhappy at work, you might blame your boss or a particular coworker. But if your parents are miles away and have nothing to do with what's going on at work or in your relationship, it doesn't really make sense to blame them for your misery. And I'm not sure that in most cases when parents feel this is what's happening, or even if an adult child out and out says, "This is all your fault," I'm not sure I believe that that's necessarily what the child is really feeling. They're definitely expressing anger and disappointment in the parent. There's no question about that part. But the cause of those feelings might be obscured by the way they're expressing them. I think that rather than literally blaming you for problems that you had nothing to do with, your adult child may simply be disappointed and angry that as his parent, you're not able to fix his problems for him. Deep down, we all have a little person inside who would love to be taken care of. This is true for men and women both. When we're sad or upset or have problems we don't know how to solve, we wish someone kind and wise and powerful would come along and make everything better. I mean, who wouldn't want that? Wouldn't that be easier than grappling with our own problems? Of course it would. And who's the best candidate to be that kind, wise, and powerful helper? The very person who used to be responsible for playing that role, your mom or dad. It may not be rational, but it's at least understandable if your child resents that you as a parent are not able to fix everything in her life and make it all better. And if that's how she feels, that's good news because there's plenty for you to work with there if you're up for it. As long as you believe your child is irrationally blaming you for problems that have nothing to do with you, you're going to feel defensive. You may even feel like keeping your distance if that's how she feels about you because there's nothing you can or should do to save her from herself. But if you walk away from a child who's fixated on your role in her troubles, things will probably only get worse as the distance between you increases. If you recognize that she's suffering and that she wishes you could make it better, now you have worlds of stuff to offer as a parent. You can offer heartfelt sympathy, loads of validation, and maybe even reassurance or encouragement when requested. This is asking a lot of you because it's hard to listen to your child's distress and not feel compelled to give advice or urge different actions on her part. But if you can become defenseless and supportive, you will actually be lending her your strength as you listen with empathy to her plight. So try to think about translating her complaints about you into requests for you to understand the pain she's in. You can drop the blame, but keep the responsibility. And remember that responsibility just means that you're response-able. You're able to respond to your child's emotional needs. While you can't soothe her troubles by kissing her boo-boos as you maybe used to do, there are ways you can help her feel better if you're so inclined. In addition to hugs and kisses, adults need validation and empathy when they're hurting. If your child seems to be blaming you, think of him as needing something from you that he doesn't feel he's been getting, and he's just frustrated about that. Don't let defensiveness cause you to miss opportunities to give your child the good stuff he needs in order to better cope with his current problems. Be empathetic to his pain. Try not to tell him what you think his problems are or what he needs to do about them. Listen and offer sympathy for how difficult solutions are sometimes to find. Be available to hear him out without defensiveness. Let him know you're rooting for him and that you love him. Do apologize if your child mentioned something specific that you did that quote-unquote messed him up. Apologies are the ultimate relationship repair tool. You might find in offering this sort of emotional support, even in the face of hostility from your child, that your child's blame, disappointment, and anger at you starts to dissipate. As best you can, try to respond to blaming behavior by giving your child what's really needed, which may simply be love and attention. Until next time, remember that you are a loving, lovable, and still growing human being. So please take good care of yourself. Bye for now. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Reconnection Club podcast, I invite you to check out reconnectionclub.com. The Reconnection Club is for parents at any stage of estrangement from their adult, child, or children. So whether you've just realized there's trouble between you, you've been living with estrangement for years, or you're newly reconciled but still walking on eggshells, the Reconnection Club is your essential resource for information, support, and continued personal growth. With our courses and workshops, expert interviews, monthly Q&A calls, and a friendly, active community, the Reconnection Club is a wonderful place to be for anyone suffering the pain of estrangement from an adult, child, or children. So check it out at reconnectionclub.com.